Hey everyone, how are you? It is Friday night. Friday night. Gonna do some true crime with Ping. How are you all? Marjorie says, Ping, for some reason I'm having difficulty finding your early show this past week. Very frustrating. I only get the replay. Hey, we book him in early. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to see it. You may have to go to the main page for Nights with Ping and then it might be under live. If you click the box, it says I think there's a box that says you can go to live shows. That's how I used to do it with Trish when you couldn't find Trish's. So maybe that'll work for you. I don't know. Otherwise, you should get a reminder. I know a lot of people are like, I never get the reminders, but if as long as you book it 30 minutes ahead, it should send out a reminder to everyone. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Maybe YouTube hates me. Maybe they're shadow banned me. They've shadow banned me. Everyone, rally around. Get the pitchforks. No, I don't know. I have no idea. It's a little odd. Hold on, let me set this up and then we'll get going. Hey guys, how are you all? Good. I'm here, I promise. We didn't have an early show today because I slept in. It's Saturday here and I decided, hey, I'm going to sleep in. I wanted to wake up early every day of the week to do the 11 a.m. show and I was like, I'm going to sleep in today. I hope you're all doing well. Let's see who was here. Sean was here earlier. Srery runs late. DJ was here. Who else was here? Apparently I was here. Peekaboo, Cockatiel was here. Laurie, good to see you. Angela, Marilyn Landis, Deborah, happy to have you here. I Hate Mornings, Miss Reby. Uda's here. Utah's here. Laura T. Marjorie's here. All right, Kathy Lynch, hey, how are you? Good to have you. Burnt Popcorn. Justice Jane, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. All right, let's get going. I hope I got everyone. Let's listen to this. I caught this just before we went live, and anytime we can talk about a serial killer, I'm going to do it. This guy was apparently pretty prolific, and they just recently, with the help of genetic genealogy, which is the buzzword in true crime for the last 5 years, it seems to be everything is solved with genetic genealogy. It is the magic tool of true crime right now. They've solved these four girls who were murdered in Calgary in Canada in the 1970s. Just they were like, oh, we don't know who it is. 40 years pass and they're like, oh, maybe we got some technology that can help us. And they tracked it down to an American serial killer, an American. This guy here, here's a photo of him when he was a bit younger, and this is him in jail for other crimes. We'll talk about that. But let's listen to the update on the news, then we'll go through the different cases.
4 Calgary cold case murders have been solved after an investigation that spanned almost 5 decades. Alberta Mounties say new genealogy technology has helped them link the 1976 and 77 deaths of 4 young women to an American serial killer who died in prison. Tim Brooke has more on the cases and what happens next.
In February 1976, 2 14-year-old Calgary students were found dead under the Happy Valley underpass. The distraught families and friends of Eva Dvorak and Patricia McQueen begged for answers.
The only thing that goes through my head is I just want to know how.
Months later, 2 other young Calgarians, 20-year-old Melissa Rahoric and 19-year-old Barbara McLean, suffered similar fates. They too were stalked, killed, and then left on the side of the road. For decades, detectives searched to find the person or people responsible. And for decades, the cases ran cold, until now.
Due to forensic evidence, witness statements, and similar fact evidence, the Alberta RCMP believe that Gary Allen Srery is responsible for the murders.
Gary Allen Srery illegally fled his home in Illinois to Calgary in the 70s. He was living along Center Street at the time of the murders, potentially using an alias, stalking women and girls at night in his vehicle.
We know that Srery's criminality spanned decades over multiple jurisdictions and numerous aliases.
He eventually made his way to the Lower Mainland, where he was arrested for rape. Srery spent the last 2 decades of his life behind bars in both Canada and the U.S.
For nearly 50 years, investigators did not give up in their pursuit to identify the man responsible for these murders.
Like many recently solved cold cases, technology drove this conclusion. In 2021, RCMP and Calgary Police used a tool known as investigative genetic genealogy to create a pseudo-Srery family tree.
Within 11 weeks, they had identified Mr. Srery, and they cleared the other 300 suspects.
The quick work has Calgary detectives optimistic for breaks in 114 other local unsolved homicides.
Our goal is to seek the truth and find out what's happened to these people. And so jurisdiction is not going to stand in our way.
In statements, all 4 families thank police for never giving up as they continued to mourn young women who never got to grow old.
And Tim joins us from Calgary Police Headquarters tonight. Tim, police and RCMP aren't closing the book on this case quite yet.
That's right, Tara. Even though they're confident right now that Gary Srery is their man in these 4 cases, they said today they believe it's entirely possible he committed other crimes while he was here. Let's keep in mind, he had a lengthy rap sheet in America before moving to Calgary. And after leaving Calgary, he was arrested in British Columbia. So Mounties want the public's help, not only furthering this case, but also trying to establish an exact timeline of Srery when he was here in our city. If anyone has any information, maybe someone was watching tonight and recognizes the man that we just showed you, they're urged to call police or Crime Stoppers. Tara?
Okay, Tim Brooke reporting. Tim, thank you.
It's a spinning circle. Hold on.
Good morning. My name is Superintendent David Hall, and I am the officer in charge of the Alberta RCMP Serious.
Yes, we've met you before, Superintendent. He's actually giving a press conference on these findings, which are very interesting. I know a lot of people in here were saying, I was just a little girl at that time, and, I wasn't even born yet. I was still 20 years from being on this earth at the time. Burnt Popcorn says, wow, 4 girls. I think he had a lot more victims than that. And that's what they're trying to do now, is to see how many other victims in Canada, when he crossed the border, could he be related to. They found these 4. They've been able to tie that up. That is good. They said the 4 deaths occurred between 1976 and 1977. They said it was based on forensic evidence, witness statements, and similar fact evidence. He was a U.S. citizen born in 1942, and he's believed to be responsible. Sadly, he died in... Sadly? I don't know if we'd use that word. He just did. He died in prison in the United States in 2011. It's nice to know that... we've seen other cases in the past where they're like, oh, it could have been this one guy. He's in prison and he died 10 years ago. Oh, we don't know though, but we kind of think it could be him. I see that in a ton of different old type cases from the 1960s, 70s, 80s, even 90s, where they're just sort of like, it could be him, but we're not going to investigate any further because he's dead. I'm glad that they didn't stop there and they wanted to at least give the family answers that they deserve. I mean, the smallest thing that you could do for those families is give them a name. Who took their daughters from this earth, and give them someone they can say, that's who killed my daughters. I really appreciate the RCMP for doing that. That's, I've seen a bunch of other police departments that are just like, I don't know, we don't have the funding. My detectives are working on other more important cases, and maybe one day we'll find out. It's a weird attitude, but it's great news. I caught this just before we went live, and I sent it to our friend Gambler. I hope he's doing okay. He's been a little distant recently. I think he's taken up hockey. He may have taken up hockey. Hey, retired RN, how are you? Good to have you. Kathy Lynch. Deborah says, I bet he'll be tied to murders in BC, British Columbia as well. Yep, I would say so. I reckon this is just the tip of the iceberg. If he killed in America, he's killed in Calgary. There's probably more, right? I'm guessing there has to be. Hey, I hate chocolate. How are you? Yeah, so I'm not going to play the press conference for you because every time I do that, people are like, it's boring, Ping. Stop playing us 15-minute press conferences. So what I'll do is I'll give you the link to the press conference. And if that's in your, you want to watch it, you want to sit through 15 minutes of it, you can. I just gave you the 2-minute version. We prefer to do that here. There you go. There's a link for people who can't see the chat on their TVs. If you can memorize that, you're doing better than me. I can't do that. Hey, Lola. How are you? Kim, good to have you here. Cheated no more. Yeah, I think it gives a level of respect to the families and the victim to continue. Just to say, oh well, he died. Our main suspect's dead. Well, there's no point putting any money into this anymore because we can't get a prosecution. I think for the family, it's not about that. It's about making the family whole again by saying, we know who did this. This is the guy. It adds to their story, their recovery, and the way they deal with having their family members killed in a horrific way like this. So I'm happy the RCMP did that. Oh, we can look it up. I think it's in here. What do you mean, when was he arrested in America? Let me try and find it. Yeah, give me a second. This one doesn't really have it. This one's talking about the Canadian women, and there's some more photos of them here. That's Patricia McQueen and Ava. And that's Melissa, and I think there's a fourth one. Yep, Barbara McLean here. Very pretty young girls. Very pretty. Hold on. This is interesting. The RCMP said seminal fluid was discovered at all 3 crime scenes, but due to technological constraints at the time, a DNA profile could not be created. That happened today, and they find that sort of baby batter at the scene. They're going to have you in cuffs in like a couple of months. Give us a couple of months to send it to the labs and we'll press charges. It's crazy how fast the technology has changed here. Interesting that they found that at all 3 crime scenes. They said causes of death for 2 of the women were attributed to strangulation. Their deaths were originally investigated as homicides. The other 2, their deaths were not ruled as homicides at the time, but just were investigated as suspicious deaths. But now they're saying all 4 were homicide victims. Let me see if I can find out about his American past. Let's have a look what he did in America. There's another photo of him there. Very different life stages. I would suggest this is in his late 30s, maybe mid 30s, something like that, early 40s, maybe. This might be a little older. Could be just 5 years later, but it looks like a while ago at least. So apparently he was a United States citizen who was living illegally in Canada at the time of the murders. Would have made it very difficult for them to track him down. There's no papers of him coming into Canada, so he's like a ghost. They would have had no idea he was even there. He had an extensive criminal history in the US before coming to Canada, which included forcible R-word, kidnapping, burglary, and sexual perversion. Police believe he fled the US in 1974 after posting bail for the R-word charge in California. He had a transient lifestyle and lived under aliases in Calgary in 1976 to 1977, including Willie Blackman and Rex Long, their 2 aliases that he used. He occasionally worked under the table as a line cook. He was known to frequently change his appearance and place of residence and vehicles. The RCMP says he lived in Alberta and British Columbia from late 1970s until 2003 when he was deported. So they end up kicking his butt out of the country. They say Calgary police have used the DNA profile to review outstanding unsolved homicide files, but at this point, do not believe there are any other open cases in their jurisdiction linked to him. Okay, so that's only the Calgary police, though. So that's only for their area. Wait till they get to BC. Maybe they'll find some more. Yeah, he did live in both places. I don't believe he just went, oh, I killed 4 in Calgary. I better not kill any more in BC. I better be a good boy now for the next 25 years. I better stop abusing women, even though I have multiple charges of sex crimes and killing them. I might, should be good from now on. I've turned into an altar boy. Nope, I believe there's probably more, unfortunately. They said his criminality spanned decades over multiple different areas and numerous aliases. Alberta RCMP believes there will be more victims. Yep. They said anyone who recognizes him or knew him via one of his aliases is asked to contact the Alberta RCMP Historical Crime Unit. And I'm going to put their email on the screen. You can contact them via phone as well, but here's their email. If you recognize him, we have a lot of Canadians who watch this show and a lot of older people who might have been around at that time too. So if you knew him, you recognize those photos. Don't feel like it's too small that your information, oh, I just knew, it came into my hardware store like twice. Who cares about that? That could be the link to linking it to another girl. That could be the one piece of information the cops need to be like, we can place him at the scene of another death. So no information is ever too small for a homicide investigation. Here's their number too. Oh, I did put that already. Ping, how does your brain not know that? There we go. There's their number. Call the RCMP and tell them. Yeah, they say if you believe he may be associated or responsible for a crime in your area, we ask that you reach out to the policing agency within that jurisdiction to report it. So they're saying that if you're like in, I don't know, Saskatchewan, call them. If you're in, Ontario, call them. If it happened in Calgary, call them. That's what they're saying. Don't call those guys. They won't help you. Yeah, there we go. Let's look at some more photos of him. Some of these. This is when he was in jail. You can see he looks different in every photo, right? He's definitely a little older here. Here, a lot younger. What's with the pipe, brother? Was that cool back then in the 70s to have a pipe? My dad had a pipe. I don't know if he ever used it. I don't remember seeing my dad ever smoke. But he did have a pipe and he did have a cigar cutter. But I don't remember ever seeing him use it. He probably did it when we went around. He probably didn't want to influence us into smoking, which I ended up smoking for 15 years anyway. All right, let's see some other photos of this fella. Come on, webpage. There you go. There's the younger photos. You can see how they're saying he changed his appearance a lot. Although he's just got a different colored beard. Like this one's more bushy. He's wearing glasses here. His hair looks very similar, except he looks like he has a slightly receding hairline in this photo compared to this photo. His forehead's a lot longer in the different photos. So this is a much younger photo. I would suggest early 30s to mid 30s in this one. This one a bit older, maybe like mid 40s, maybe something like that. Could be the same guy. Could be the same time. I mean, they did say he changed his appearance a lot. Yeah, glad to have 4 girls have their day in the media for their family. You saw the video, right? There was a video in that clip of their family members, and I am guessing, hold on, let me refresh this and I'll show you. I'm guessing they're not with us anymore because that video looks like from literally the 70s or 80s. And a couple of them look like they're a little older. Hold on, let me mute that. Yep. Where's the photo of their family? Yeah, here. These like you can tell that's a very old video. There was another one though with the family. Oh, there's another photo of him. That he looked very different. So they're saying he used these type of cars too. I wish we could get a better screenshot of that for you. I'll try and find one. Hold on. But yeah, there was a lot of their families. A lot of the videos were from the 1970s. I don't know how many of those people would be around anymore. So you can see maybe an auntie or a mom or something, or possibly even a grandma. She may not be here anymore with us. So it's at least hopefully there's some family around. Marjorie says, my dad gave up. That's good. Kathy said, my dad smoked a pipe for a while. It smelled so nice. Okay. Marjorie said, my dad gave up cigs and took up a pipe in the early 70s. It must have been a fashion thing then. I wasn't around in the 70s. I wasn't even born yet, so I can't tell you. Hey, talk to YouTube. Don't talk to me. I just make the shows and turn up here and press play. I mean, we can't physically send out notifications. It's not possible. It's a YouTube functionality. It's not on our side. I wish I could do something. I wish there was a button I could press that said send out notification, but there is not. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. What a great story, though. I hope some of you had a chance to go watch In Pursuit with John Walsh. I've been telling everyone about it. Andrew Rosa, still on the run. And that story is literally one of the creepiest stories I've ever read about a child predator. This guy is the worst, one of the worst. I mean, he recruits young girls. He sexually abuses them to the point where they're fearful of the abuse, is what I think. And then they're willing to do anything to stop being abused. And he's like, well, find me another girl. Find me another younger girl. And I think that's basically what happened with the girl on In Pursuit. She ended up setting up her friend who was 14 at the time of the, sexual assault and attack, R-word attack. She was, he actually went through the entire thing with her. And the girl said, oh, hey, I know this guy. He'll give us some cash if we sort of just make out together. And, he likes that kind of like young girls thing. And she went, that's all we have to do, make out. And her friend was like, yeah, that's all we have to do. And he'll pay us like $200 and give us a bunch of vapes. And when he got to the house, it got a little more serious than that. And then the friend suddenly disappeared out of the room, leaving Andrew Rosa and the 14-year-old alone in the room together. And he ended up pressuring her for sexual intercourse. She's 14, she can't consent. It doesn't matter how many times you ask her, she's 14, she cannot consent to sex. It's a crime. You touch her, it's a crime instantly. Yeah, and it was pretty horrific. The girl apparently became very withdrawn from her family. Her family literally thought she was on drugs. Literally, they were like, "Oh, I think my daughter's on heroin or something," because she was just so different after that day. Her mom ended up taking her phone. Andrew contacted them again, and hey, I'm going to be in town. You want to meet up again? And the mother pretended to be the daughter and was trying to track him down, and then he disappeared off the face of the earth. Last place he was seen was Moab in Utah. They found his car down there, but they haven't found him. He's been gone for almost 2 years, and they really want to track him down so he can not hurt any more children or young girls. One of the conversations he had with the mom was, if you don't want to do anything, do you have a little sister? When she said, yes, I do, she's 10, he's like, oh, that's fine. That would work. I'd take a 10-year-old. This guy needs to get off the street. If you see him, you're in Utah, and you see this guy, Call his ass in. He could be anywhere by now, though. It is 2 years later. They're saying the suspect is on the run. Douglas County deputies are asking for the public's help to find him and any more potential victims. They say, I won't read that. It's basically the story I just told you. So his last known address was in Boulder, Colorado, but they actually tracked him via mobile cell towers down into Utah, and the last place they were able to track him was Moab. And they found his car down there, but they weren't able to find him. So they found his vehicle, but not him. They don't know where he went after that, and there was no more public sightings since he got to Utah. So, hey, I spoke to the mother very briefly the other night, and I would do anything to help her daughter find justice and get this guy off the street. So if you see him, call it in. Even call John Walsh. I don't care if you call John Walsh. Call him if you want to. Call America's Most Wanted. Call the police. I don't care. Call someone. If you see him, call it in. We have a lot of people in Utah. We have a lot of people in Colorado, Denver. We have people in Denver. But he could be anywhere by now. So don't just think because you're not in Moab. Don't just think because you're not in Utah or Colorado that this guy, oh, I saw a guy looked exactly like that. That it's not him. He could be anywhere. Could be in Florida. Could be in California. They even think he could be in Canada. So what is it with Moab? Yeah, there's been a few brutal crimes out there, right? There was the two girls, the they were married. They were wife and wife, and they were murdered out there not long ago, right? A couple of years ago. That was pretty bad. Huh. Laura Thomas said, it's kind of funny. One of the sheriffs there in Douglas County, Utah, is named Laura Thomas. Is it you? Are you secretly a sheriff in Douglas County? Is it you? Do you know this guy? Are you working on the case? Why didn't you tell me, Laura? Why didn't you tell me? We could have been a contender. We could have worked together. All right. Chidnome says some of these guys are good at disguising themselves. Hopefully they get him as soon as possible. I don't know if he's that good at disguising himself. I've seen a few photos of him. He looks roughly like this, but when he's wearing sunglasses, he looks very different. I wish I had that photo. Let me see if I can find it very quickly. Because when he's wearing sunglasses, he looks like a different dude, at least to me. Hold on, let me grab it. All right, I'm going to show you something, and you all have to promise that I never showed you this, okay? Or where to get this, or where it came from, or anything like that. It never occurred. Let me just find it there. Nope, don't do that. All right, hold on. Hold on, they're just getting a photo of it. I'll show you. So this is actually the episode right here. I'm just trying to pinpoint. There you go. There's a photo with sunglasses from the episode of In Pursuit. You can see he sort of looks different with a cap and sunglasses on. So yeah, I never showed you what this website is or where it is, or this is definitely 100% not the full episode. This is a trailer. It's a trailer from social media. The two female campers. I think they did arrest someone over it. A male, right? I'm pretty sure. I can look it up in a minute. But yeah, there you go. There's a photo of him with sunglasses and a hat. I think he looks very different compared to that other photo, this one. So he could look like either one. I think it disguises his look a lot. He looks a little more like creepy neighbor in this photo. And this photo, the one I just showed you, he almost looks like guy you might pick up at bar. So, yeah, he looks very Jekyll and Hyde, depending on what he's wearing. So, yeah, just keep an eye out. You see him, call it in, get this freaking creep off the streets, willing to sexually abuse a 10-year-old for fun. And he also asked if he could tie up one of the girls in a bondage situation. A 14-year-old. I don't even know if a 14-year-old knows what bondage is. They might, but I don't think they want to do it. Lost weight in the cat photo, probably because he's been on the run. You know, you don't get 4 square meals a day being on the run. All right, let's move on. I will keep bringing this up until he is captured. I would do anything to help that mother and daughter. By the way, I don't know how much I can say. I'll say this. The girl who set up the 14-year-old, the 15-year-old at the time, I think she'd be about 18 now. Her family didn't want anything to do with this investigation, and just that. I'll just say that. They didn't want anything to do with the investigation. I won't go further than that to protect the mum's identity, but yeah. Apparently the 15-year-old that led the 14-year-old into this just, yeah, pretended like it never happened. You need to go on a run, not go on the run. There you go. He can get 3 hots and a cot if he hands himself in. Yeah, he can get 3 hot meals, a shower. He can even get some male on male attention in jail if he so wishes. All right. There we go. Hey, I'm sure you guys have all seen the P. Diddy stuff going around. That video is brutal. I was speaking to Insightful One about it earlier, and I said, hey, that reminds me so much of the Ray Rice video from 2014. I don't know if any of you remember what that is, but Ray Rice knocked out, was it his wife or girlfriend at the time? Hold on. Now wife, he's married to her now apparently. Okay. So I'll show you the video and you'll see why it's so similar to the P. Diddy one. Big Bubba loving. That reminds me of that girl in the UK, Big Bunda, or they call Becky Bunda. So this looks like a casino or somewhere. And now they're in the elevator. By the way, trigger warning if you're a DV person. Sorry, I should have. Look at that. Just knocked her ass out. She is literally unconscious. It looks like he is moving a body. Not joking. He can't even get her out of the elevator properly. And then he's like, oh, yeah, she's just had way too much to drink. I'm just going to carry her back to my car or hotel room. There's nothing wrong here at all. Why is she unconscious? Oh, she's a big drinker, And then security's here like, what's going on here? Why is there a woman on the floor? Why is she not talking? And he's like, oh, it's a game we play. It's it's a fantasy. It's a role play. It's what we do as a couple. I just put her head in the elevator. It's a fun thing we do. So yeah, there you go. This is why it reminds me a lot of the P. Diddy video. The reason I bring it up is this. Ray Rice has gone on to be celebrated and lauded, and he's been introduced into the Ring of Honor, and he's been on NFL Network, and the Ravens have had him there, and this and that. He's had accolades, and I worry very much that this video of P. Diddy won't do anything. It'll be just like this situation. This happened in 2014. His name is Ray Rice. He was a NFL football player. And P. Diddy is much more wealthy and, connected than this guy is. And this guy was able to move away from this incident. I worry that it's probably just going to get swept under the rug. I really do. I hope it doesn't for the victim's sake, and I hope people take it seriously and things have changed since 2014, but it does worry me. It really does. All right. I have several other stories. That's all I'm going to say on the P. Diddy thing. That's it. That's my only comment. Actually, I wanted to check something. Remember there was a body found in Atlanta yesterday? Someone shooting a movie found a body in Atlanta. I just wanted to find out if they had got a suspect. Hold on. All right. I just wanted to see if there was an update to this. I don't see one. Nope. They just said they found a woman at a bus interchange. They believe it was an argument that took place and then someone shot and killed her. And apparently someone shooting a movie ended up finding her body there later that day. So what was her name? Here, Aria Barnett was her name. Okay, let's have a look. I don't see any update in relation to a suspect on who killed her at all. I'm going to show you what it was. If you weren't here the other night, I'll show you.
An update to breaking news we first brought you this morning. We're learning more about the woman found dead on the side of the road. Coworkers and friends identify the woman on Collier Road as Aria Barnett. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us today for Fox 5 News at 4. I'm Christine Spiro. They say she worked at the Walmart off Cascade Road. Fox 5's Mary Smith spoke with those who knew her. Mary is live from where she was found this morning. Mary, what else have you found out?
Well, friends and coworkers tell us that she would take the bus to work every day, and this is where she was found shot and killed early this morning on Collier Drive.
She was a down-to-earth person.
He did? Oh, okay. That's interesting update. Good, thank you. Because I was looking for it, and when I search her name, Area, nothing comes up. Okay, so the purported person, was it known to her? Now I'm the one asking questions. It's like, Ping, don't you have the true crime show? Let me have a look. Let me see if I can find that update, because when I search her name, nothing comes up. Let's see, Area. Just wanted to know that someone had been held accountable for her death. That's very odd. I don't know. I don't know if Google's playing up for me again. They've changed a lot of their stuff to area specific, so it tries to pick it up from Australia for me for some reason, even when I specify USA, but it's not giving me a detail about it. But I appreciate you letting me know. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Happy to hear that? Not happy to hear that, but I'm happy to hear there was someone they found that is responsible for taking that woman's life. All right. Let's get to breaking news. Breaking news. All right. No, I don't want to talk about that. Who sent me something on Curry Richens? Why does that sound familiar? All right, let's do this. Let's go to KCAL in Los Angeles. No, we don't want to watch a movie. What is it? Halo? No, I don't want to watch Halo. Why do they always show me ads? I have no interest in Halo.
Sitting in his big brown truck. We followed the breaking news right here at 4 yesterday, and now police say the shooter was also a UPS worker. KCAL News Orange County reporter Michelle Geely spoke with the victim's devastated friends.
I'm so heartbreaking right now. I can't believe this could be happening to my friend.
Ramona Moy had to visit the spot in Irvine where his mountain biking buddy and friend lost his life Thursday. Police say that 50-year-old UPS driver Expedito De Leon was shot to death on his route by a fellow employee identified as Rion Fontanoza. Albert Alba and De Leon worked together at UPS for 30 years.
Awesome worker, great guy. Everybody loved him. Avid mountain biker, family man. Just all around good guy. And this senseless killing it shocked me. I don't understand.
UPS employee Albert Godinez laid an iconic brown UPS work shirt at the memorial for his coworker, best known as X or JX.
I would see him in the morning when we would get to work. He would always have a smile on his face. Happy guy. I would clock out early. He would be walking out of the building, same way he walked in, with a smile.
That, Lord, you would be with them. And that makes Expedito De Leon's death so hard to understand for his colleagues and customers. Police say that the gunman pulled up alongside the UPS truck as De Leon was taking his break and fired several shots. Many people working in the area heard the sounds.
I hear like 5 shots behind you. You can hear like a bang, 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 bang. And then there was like a pause. Maybe a couple, like a minute or something like that. And then you hear another 2 or 3 shots more. Bang, bang, bang.
All day long, people who work in this business park took time to drop off flowers and pray where De Leon died. Police say the victim was targeted.
The suspect was, he helped on the,
Is it a little bit cruel to write on a UPS "We miss you" slip? Is that sort of like an inside joke or inside sort of, thing with UPS drivers if someone dies? Look, let me pause it. Look, sorry we missed you. Rest in peace. Love you. I find that interesting. Is it like they couldn't find other paper, or it's because he was a delivery man? They're like, hey, that's a good way to honor him. Interesting. As you can see, a little friend joined me during that video. He's decided that he wanted to come up and be on the video, Mr. Orange Cat. It is a little bit of bad taste, right? It's like, hey, a fellow worker shot and killed you, but let's leave a tracking slip at your memorial site. I don't know. Maybe it's an inside thing. We'd have to ask a UPS driver. Yeah, me too. I giggled for a second, even though it is very tragic. How's that? I mean, I don't know what drives someone to be like that, to be honest. Let's have a look. It says the man suspected of killing a UPS driver found shot dead inside his delivery truck was also an employee of the company, police said Friday. They said they found him slumped over in the driver's seat of the truck when officers responded to an area near Fleming and Chrysler around 3 p.m. They said they received multiple reports of gunshots fired. About 3 hours later, SWAT officers arrested, I'm just trying to, is it Rian Fontenosa, so Rian Fontenosa, 46, on suspicion of killing De Leon following a standoff 15 miles away from where they found the body. Over what? They said police described the victim and the suspect as just acquaintances who both worked for UPS. However, authorities said a motive remains unclear. Maybe it's like a route wars, like, like the criminals do. Maybe it's like, you took the best route. I had that route. And then they got into some sort of work disagreement. I don't know. What would drive someone that you don't really know at work to come and shoot you? There has to be more to this story that we don't know about. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. No, we don't want that. I want this guy, Rian Fontenosa. Let's have a look. All right.
In the murder of a UPS driver in Irvine. We're learning the suspect seen here and the victim knew each other. Orange County reporter David Gonzalez is live in Aliso Viejo, where neighbors say the driver will be missed. David.
Giovanna, Irvine police are telling us this afternoon that the suspect was also a UPS driver. This murder is impacting not just those living in Irvine, but those who live in this Aliso Viejo neighborhood where that victim also lived. Right now, the motive behind the shooting remains unknown.
Great individual. He's going to be missed in the community. Really missed.
Residents living in the Vantis community of Aliso Viejo are trying to process the violent death of one of their neighbors.
When I heard it on the news this morning, I thought, oh no, I hope it's not our neighbor, because he worked with UPS for quite a few years.
Expedito Cuesta de Leon, known as Jay by family and friends, was shot and killed while sitting in his UPS delivery truck in an industrial area of Irvine on Thursday.
Well, the whole neighborhood knew him. I mean, he was always out there in the back doing something, and he would be talking to all of us. Hi, how you doing? Oh, I'm getting ready to go, see my grandchildren.
Authorities say the 50-year-old husband and father was targeted.
He was very proud to work for UPS, but he was always out on weekends either polishing his car or getting ready to ride his bicycle.
Rian Fontenosa has been identified as the alleged gunman. Hours after the shooting, Fontenosa was taken into custody with the help of a canine that was deployed into a truck he had barricaded himself in. Right now, the motive behind the shooting is unknown, but police say the suspect also worked at UPS and may have known the victim.
He was a really nice guy. I can't imagine how in the world somebody could do that to him.
Like it says, motive remains unclear. I know a couple of people said maybe a love triangle or money. Hey, there's only, like 4 things murders are ever committed over, right? It's like sex, drugs, money, that type of thing, power. All right. I wanted to address this. Hey, my friend, how are you? Oh, your puppy died? That's not cool. Yeah, hey, anytime you lose a pet, it's like losing a member of your family. I know Leisha had a real hard time with her pet recently, and she tried everything. I know Leisha tried literally everything to prolong and keep her around, and sometimes it's not enough, like we can try everything in modern veterinary science, and we just sometimes have to sometimes we have to do what's best for the animal. What is like gives them a less painful future or whatever. And we've had to do that a couple of times when we didn't want to. The way we always do it is we judge like what is the quality of life of the animal, and is it us wanting to keep the animal around because of our own feelings, and by doing that, are we prolonging suffering? And that's the way we always think about it. So it's not an easy decision, and it's always very hard. So I feel for both of you that are having to deal with pets passing away. They become members of your family. You see them every day. It is a serious connection people have with their animals. And I don't care what it is. Could be you have a pet ram or you have a donkey or whatever, pet alligator that you feed in the pond every day. Although probably not very loving, it's probably still your friend. It might eat you one day, but it probably still your friend. Yeah, it's horrible to hear. I don't want to hear of people losing their beloved animals. All right, hey, how about we do some Lynn trial? You want to do some Lynn trial? There has been a couple of updates, and I'm going to bring them to you. So, Mr. Russell Hill, he was fairly well known, and a little bit more about the background of Russell Hill and Carol Clay has sort of come out. Now, you may remember they went missing while on a trip together, but that's not his wife. This is his lover. Now, we learned the other day, apparently, these two had made a bit of a romantic pact with each other that they would divorce their partners and end up together. She actually did it. She divorced her partner for him. He chickened out and didn't divorce his wife, but he ended up continuing to see her anyway. And apparently, I didn't know this, and I only learned this through the court records, but apparently, Russell's wife, and I don't want to use her name because I don't want to bring any more embarrassment to her that she's already had. She knew about the affair. She sort of knew about it. She knew that Carol was on the scene for about 20 years, they said. They had been sort of on and off seeing each other. Yeah, I feel very sorry for her in all of this. It's having like her dirty laundry exposed to the entire world through no action of her own. She's done nothing wrong, right? She was literally married to a guy who had an affair with an old childhood sweetheart, and they got murdered while on such a trip with each other. And now all her, marital issues are on display for everyone. It must be very distressing for her. I must admit, it must be hard for her. So they said here, no, we want the bit about. Sorry, I just want to find the bit that I want to tell you about. Here, Mr. Ashland, while giving evidence, said Mr. Hill did not log on for their group's regular conversation at 6 p.m. the following evening, and he received a call from Mr. Hill's wife, I'm going to call her Mrs. R, that weekend, even though you can see it on the screen. They said he told the jury she asked him to check in as she had not heard from her husband, and the pair stayed in contact over the following days. They say normally we don't worry about the weekend so much, but if someone's up the bush, we do. Then Monday there was nothing, and that's when I said to her, I think it's time you called the cops. Something isn't right. So he logged in every night to talk on the radio, sort of CB radio, long wave radio, I guess it is. And they talk across the country and they put up an antenna and sort of get on and have a chat and a beer. And for Mr. Hill, apparently it was very unusual for him to miss more than one night. He was a regular. He was always on there. And for him to go missing for 3 days, they were all like, something has gone wrong. He's been here for like 40 years where, never missed a night. Very strange. They said here, Mr. Ashland said after the elderly couple were reported missing, Mrs. R had confided in him that Mrs. Clay had been on the scene for about 2 decades. Apparently, they were childhood sweethearts. Carol went off and got married, and so did Russell. Russell and Carol were supposed to get together. Carol divorced her husband, but Russell backed out. He told the jury he met Mrs. Clay only once when visiting another friend at a camping spot. Even though I was told Carol was a friend, blind Freddie could see how they looked at each other. There was a relationship or there was a bit more going on. Mr. Ashland later told police he almost fell on the floor when he heard this. It was something about Russell I'd never thought about. You're thinking about a bloke who's around his 60s and 70s what's the go with one on the side? And he says, one is enough trouble. I like this guy. He's got a good lay of the land. Yes, you just need one lady. You don't need two. It's. I'm sure women think the same about men. Don't need two. One is enough. It says here, another Radio Club member, James Francis, said he'd been first introduced to Mrs. Clay while camping with the pair for about 2 weeks. He said, I'll be bringing a woman with me and she's not my wife. Is that okay? Apparently, he told that to him. What they told me around our mini campfire chats is that they met as teenagers and had a romantic relationship and drifted apart. My understanding is Carol was a family friend pretty much throughout life. Mr. Francis said he last spoke with Mr. Hill over the radio about 8 p.m. on March 20, and he seemed perfectly normal. He said, I made the assumption Carol Clay was with him, but no, I didn't ask. Mr. Francis is a semi-retired electrical engineer and was asked whether a pilot, Mr. Lynn's occupation, would have been experienced enough with communication devices to use a high-frequency radio. He said they would use a similar type of radio and presumably know how to operate it. So there you go. There's a little bit of tidbits from the Lynn trial in the last few days. There's his buddies. They were on, this is George and Rob. They were on this Spotlight documentary, I believe. And all they wanted to do was find their friend. And then they found out about all this and Mr. Lynn. So, yeah. That is some of the details between Carol Clay and Mr. Hill. Hey, Lisa, how are you? And Kathy Lynch says, I always say I am keeping the one I have. I don't want to train another one. You just have to give out bits of chicken every time. Just, good boy, here's a bit of chicken. Yep, they had been camping together for a long time. I don't know. The wife, Mrs. R, which is Russell's wife, said at least 20 years that she had sort of been hanging around her husband. I would never have thought. Now, this is probably because I'm under 40 for a few more months. I just wouldn't have thought that at their age, and I don't want to sound ageist, but I just would have thought they would have been very settled in their life at that point, and not to be running around having affairs and rendezvous with other women. I mean, I guess it permeates through all age groups. I would have thought they would have been done with that stuff once they got to their, 70s. I don't know. I'm done with that. I was done with that when I turned 30. I was like, I'm good. I found a good girl. I'm finished. I'm done. No more. You find one, you're like, oh, thank God. That's it. Yeah, I feel very sorry for his actual wife, Mrs. R. I hope she's got a lot of support from their kids and other family members right now, because it can't be easy having to see this in the paper every day. It's not chicken. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. Hey, Lisa, you finally got a day off work? Lisa works every day, so she's often not here. Oh, maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. Is that what you're doing, Lisa? Are you meeting lots of men? Do you often go out and steal other men's wives? It's a Saturday. That's true. It is a Saturday today. Beth B says not everyone ages out of this stuff. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like cocaine. Not everyone ages out of cocaine. All right, that was a bad example. Not Lisa says not me. All right. I believe you. I believe you, Lisa. It's an interesting trial so far, but man, it has been moving at snail pace. Maybe I'm so used to American trials that are like fireworks every day and there's like a million pages of stuff to go through. American trials move quickly, very quickly. Australian trials are a bit more relaxed. This week we have basically heard about 4 witnesses, opening remarks, and that's about it. That's it in 5 days. 5 days of court coverage. That's about all we've heard. 4 witnesses and opening by prosecution and defense. That's all. Hopefully it'll pick up next week and we'll get a lot more witnesses throughout the week. Chinamore says, glad to hear you are not a lecherous old man. I know, not yet, not yet. Give me 10 years. Give me 10 years. I mean, Reeve said the CWA will have all the gossip on this affair by now. 1000%. There was even rumors back in when this first broke that they were going to remove everything that she had ever done for the CWA. That they were going to remove her, basically wipe her from history because of her affair. I'm not kidding. I read about this. They were going to. So if you don't know what the CWA is, it's called the Country Women's Association. It's a women's club. They do a lot of charity. They cook and they do events, and it's sort of like Lions Club, but for ladies. Sort of like Lions Club, but for the women. And they were literally going to wipe her from the history of the club. I read about this, yeah, because they basically saw it as like the ultimate sin, what she did. I guess it probably scared a lot of the other older women out there that, oh, maybe our husbands aren't safe. Yeah, so I don't know what they ended up doing, but I know at one point they were saying that they were going to just wipe her as like she never existed in the association. Addiction to horses. Don't say that too loud. People might get the wrong idea. All right, Sharon? Don't be walking around the shopping center and saying, my addiction to horses. People will get the wrong idea. They'll think you're like Catherine. You have like pulleys and stuff rigged up and oof. Don't say it too loud. Unless you're with horse people and then, they understand. They understand. Camilla. Yeah, very much like Camilla. Then they found out the wife knew. No, I don't think she's crazy. I think she probably put up with it for her own reasons. She probably had her own reasons that she stayed, and I don't think it's fair to judge it. Maybe they just didn't have a great marriage in the end, and she just thought for the sake of commonality or just situation wise, this was the easiest, and she just didn't want to go through a divorce. Maybe it's a religious thing. Maybe her family wouldn't understand. Who knows what her reasons were, right? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't now. He's dead. She's dead. She's alive. It really doesn't matter what the reasons were. I have no ill will towards that woman. And yeah, I feel very sorry for her. I think it would be like I would just be beside myself if like every bit of dirty laundry about, my wife's affair and sex life and this and that was splashed all over every paper in the country. Even at how old is she? 68 or something? I mean, yeah, very hard to deal with. You know who we blame? And unfortunately, he's also a victim. But, the only person who makes the decision is the people who are included in the affair, right? So it's Mr. Hill and Mrs. Clay. I'm sure she's having, I'm sure she probably, if she knew about it for 20 years, I'm sure her self-esteem took a hit for almost 2 decades. That, well, my husband doesn't want me, he wants his childhood sweetheart. Am I not as good looking as her? Do I not do enough for him? She probably had all those questions, I'm sure. Yeah. If that's what they truly wanted in life was each other, Maybe there was a different way to go about it, or maybe the arrangement worked for the three of them. Who knows? We don't know. We weren't there. So maybe it worked for the three of them and that's the way they did it. Maybe they're just like, we're too old to get divorced. Let's just do it like this. We don't have to split any assets. And, I get to go camping every couple of weeks with her. And then I'll come home and spend 2 weeks with you. And I have no idea. Both divorced from life? Yes, they are divorced from life, but that was not their choice. That was Gregory Lynn's allegedly Gregory Lynn made that decision. They did not. Love is love? Sure. 20 years. Yep, that's what they said. I'll show you. I'll show you the quote. Yeah. Mr. Ashland said the elderly couple were reported missing. Mrs. R had confided in him that Mrs. Clay had been on the scene for about 2 decades. There you go. So she knew. She was a clever lady. She knew. Kathy says, if you can't support yourself, what are your choices? Take 50%. Take 50%. That's your choice. And then set yourself up. Has a motive been mentioned? The motive, well, not from the prosecution side. Prosecution has said that they don't know what the motive is or what drove the murders. The defense has said it was an argument over hunting too close to the campsite, and Russell Hill, the victim, the dead man in this particular case, took a firearm from Gregory Lynn's truck and tried to confiscate it from Gregory Lynn. Gregory Lynn tried to get the firearm back, and in doing so and tussling over the firearm, a errant shot went off and killed Mrs. Clay. After this, Russell Hill was very mad, saying, "You've killed her, you've killed her," went and grabbed a knife and tried to attack Mr. Lynn, and in a tussle over that weapon and trying to defend himself, they both fell to the floor, and the knife went through Mr. Hill's chest and killed him. That is the that is the defense's assertion of what happened. That is the defense of Gregory Lynn. The Cheated No More says, ping the take 50% is not working too well in our society right now. Still works in Australia. They're very old school. Women are getting more and more these days, which is a good thing. It's good to see the courts more balanced now. Annika says Russell was full of bad decisions. Well, we don't know. That is just the defense's. The defense's assertion. That is their defense they're giving to Gregory Lynn. They're saying it was a self-defense case, and Mrs. Clay was killed by an errant bullet that could have actually come from Russell Hill having his hand on the weapon and discharging it. They could use that as some sort of deniability. Then the second part is that Russell tried to attack Gregory Lynn with a knife after killing Mrs. Clay, saying that you killed her, and then they tussled over that knife, and then he died when the knife was fell or pushed into his chest and killed him. So I will see. Laura T says, love your humor, ping. Rings so much truth. I appreciate it. By the way, Laura, I appreciate your donation to the channel tonight. I saw it come through just before and I was waiting for a break to talk about it. I very much appreciate it. I'll see if there's a message. Hold on. Sometimes Ko-Fi has been acting really weird. Sometimes I get a email saying like, hey, someone supported you or whatever, and this is the message. And sometimes they're just not sending me anything at all. It says here, Laura T says, thank you so much for all your hard work and dedication. I appreciate your donation and your message and your friendship. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. It means a lot. Thank you. All right. Shall we do one more? we get one more out of the way. Let's see what we've got in the, I think someone sent me something. Hold on. Let's do some crowd. Often people send me things, and I like to do things from other people. What is this? This is from Angela. Oh, yeah. Actually, Angela, that link didn't work. But I wonder how many people have seen this story. Bundabeki is what they called her at the school. She's been convicted of sex with schoolboys. She actually got pregnant to one of these young schoolboys and gave birth to a child. The child was taken from her the moment she gave birth. They went to court, got a court order to take custody of the child. So she lost her first child because she produced it while having sex. I think it was like a 15-year-old or a 14-year-old. But she has now been convicted and found guilty of having sex with 2 schoolboys. Rebecca Jones or Joy. I'm just going to call her Rebecca. Rebecca, 30, groomed the youngsters from the age of 15, according to the Manchester Crown Court, and was on bail for sexual activity with the first child, boy A, when she began having sex with the second boy, boy B, who went on to become pregnant by. So she became impregnated by the second boy that she was grooming. They said neither teen can be identified due to their age at the time of the crime. They said she's been convicted of 6 counts of engaging in sexual activity with a child, including 2 while being in a position of trust, so being a teacher. They said petite, softly spoken, and described by the teenagers as really pretty. She closed her eyes and grimaced before she began visibly shaking as she stood in the dock as the guilty verdicts were returned by the jury foreman following a 2-week trial. Now, if you weren't following this, she did something very interesting during the trial. She had a baby's bonnet that she would tuck into her pants, and she had it throughout the trial. And when she gave evidence or answered questions, she did not sit. She standed in front of the court so they could see that she had it tucked into her pants. The prosecution actually called it out near the end of the trial, saying it was just a thing to garner sympathy from the jury and show that she was like a motherly type, and all she cared about was now the baby that she'd had. And I want to show you that photo. Give me 1 second. But apparently the boys called her Bundabeki, and bunda is a word for ass or butt. It's a slang term in the UK. Actually, it comes from another language. I can't remember. I think it's Portuguese when I was looking it up last night. Yeah, they called her Bundabeki. There you go. And yeah, she's been now convicted of those charges. Even one of the boys asked her and said, "Why are you interested in us underage? You're a very pretty woman. You could have other guys in your own age group." Very smart kid, right? Very smart kid to say that type of thing to her. There's more. Very different in every photo. Yeah, there it is. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it very well. Actually, let me do this. And let me upload it here. Yeah, so you can see it a little bit on the screen. I'll upload a larger version here. There you go. You can see that baby's bonnet that she kept in her pants. Is that a sexual innuendo? That she kept the baby's bonnet in her pants? I mean, she is a convicted pedophile. I mean, you never know. Yeah, prosecution called it out, basically said, we're not going to fall for those type of tricks and games, and that type of stuff doesn't work on educated and intelligent juries. But there you go, bit of a weird thing. Kathy Lynch says, I remember high school girls going gaga over the young science teacher. I thought it was gross. I mean, Cheetah No More says, Ping, I mean how spouses are killing the other rather than being willing to split the assets. Hey, you know what we say on this channel? Walk away, get a divorce. You can just, your life will be so much easier. You'll eventually be caught for murdering your partner, right? Do you want to spend the rest of your life in a jail for it? Do you want to have to go through a court case where every bit of your dirty laundry gets given to the world? No. Just walk away. It's not worth it. She's not worth it. He's not worth it. Whoever. It's not worth it. Go find another person. There's how many billions of people on this planet? You could find an even hotter, better looking person. You don't know. You haven't tried. Try it. See? People don't understand the opportunities that are in front of them. But yeah, so Miss Bunda Becky is now a convicted child molester. I forget what they call it when it's over 12. It's not pedophile, it's some other word that's something file. So she's a convicted whatever file. I find it very interesting. The more we're seeing, the more young women committing these type of things with school students. You're just seeing it more and more. I get at least a few a week in the paper. It is interesting. I wonder what the trigger is for it. What is the trigger for the more females willing to abuse a position of trust and then take that risk of breaking down their marriages and this and that? Reby, are you talking about the other story? Yeah, it is. I can't. Yeah, but yeah. Check my Twitter. Check my Twitter. Yeah. So there was another woman in the USA who had a similar thing. She molested school students, and she was getting married like a few months later, and the husband has now called off their engagement. Good for him. Good for him. Let me see if I can find it because I think it's very similar. It was the murder near me. Yeah, it didn't load for some reason. I clicked on it, but it didn't work. Murder accused visitors fun fair while body of teacher was at home. All right, I can Google it. Come on. I think you just want me to read words that I can't say. So it's from Scotland. Murder accused visited fun fair while body of teacher was at home, court told. A man accusing of murdering a retired college teacher suggested a trip to a fun fair while the elderly man's body was hidden under a bed, a court has heard. Paul Black, 65, is accused of killing Peter Caution, 75, in August 2022 as part of a catfishing plot with his flatmate to steal thousands of pounds. Black is on trial in the High Court and denies 2 charges of murder and defeating the ends of justice after 16 additional charges were dropped by the prosecution. Oh, interesting. They dropped a bunch of charges. They said McNaughton previously gave evidence blaming Black for suffocating Mr. Caution, claiming his own role was luring his former lover, Mr. Caution, to a flat in Leith after creating a fake profile on dating app Gaydar. Gaydar? Okay. I thought it was Grindr, but Gaydar? Before the pair went on a spending spree with the victim's cash. This is so similar to another one. There was one in America where there was a very similar thing. A woman and her partner ended up getting to an older man. He sort of was interested in her because she was this young girl and she was showing some affection towards him. And I think they ended up murdering him, dumping his body somewhere, and then stealing all of his money and credit cards and things like that. So this case out of Scotland, very similar. They said giving evidence on Thursday, Black said he met McNaughton in 2014 when they worked in a gay bar and admitted he was infatuated but also frightened of the younger man, telling the court, "I treated him like a son." Black, a father of one, told the court he found McNaughton was expecting a meet-up 20 minutes before Mr. Caution arrived and believed the elderly man was there to have sex via a hookup app. Giving evidence, he said, I went into the sitting room and had my telly on. He went into the bedroom. I don't know what happened. I think they were just in there talking. Yes, talking. Yes, that happens in all bedrooms. Talking. I often do that. I go into the bedroom, do some talking behind closed doors. Isn't that what doors are for? To talk behind? Yes, I believe so. Says here, I don't know what happened. They were just in there talking. Okay. I had my telly on and didn't want to get involved in that kind of thing. I thought he was going to have sex with the man. Paul's known for that. Yeah, all Pauls are known for that, for having sex with men, apparently, according to this article. Says, I knew he liked to go out and have a bit of fun. Black said he believed Mr. Caution had left, but went into the bedroom and saw the elderly man face down and said he checked his pulse. He said, I heard the front door shut and thought he was away. He was lying on top of the bed face down in the bedroom. I knew something had happened as Paul was sitting beside the bed, agitated, shaking with fear. He says, I have to get out of here and go up to his house, and you have to go with me. I've killed him. Black claimed he wanted to call emergency services, but McNaughton told him not to, and the pair went for a walk around. Yeah, this is crazy, including going to Mr. Caution's house and also to McDonald's to eat some fries. Okay, that's what I like to do after murdering an elderly man. I like to go for a walk around the town, and then I like to go to the victim's home, and then I like to go and eat fries. I mean, it's the perfect afternoon. Says here, Mr. Caution's body was hidden under the bed while the pair went on a trip to a fun fair, which Black admitted he suggested. Yes, it is definitely an after-murder activity, going to a fun fair. Says here, Black insisted he did not benefit financially, although he changed euros worth $5,000 the next day. Who's writing this stuff? Is it AI? Although he changed euros worth $5,000 the next day, he said he was scared and traumatized. I have no idea what that means. Whoever works at Yahoo, you got to stop using AI to make your articles because AI doesn't understand human grammar properly. And this section here reads like crap. Okay. It says here, he added, I says to Paul, did you want a trip over to, is it Burnt Island? He said it was a nice day, just have a break from town. It seemed like a nice thing to do. They said apparently the defendant, defending Tony Lenahan said, you've got a dead body in your flat. Black said, I just wanted to get away for a while. Yes, I often want to get away from dead bodies too. It's what I like to do. Go to fun fairs, go to the victim's home, get McDonald's, then, do other things. It says he admitted driving a Vauxhall Vectra to Northumberland on 2 occasions to dispose of Mr. Caution's body, and also lying to police who visited the flat as part of the investigation into the disappearance on 2 occasions. Mr. Lenahan said, all the things you did in terms of moving the body, driving to Northumberland, did you know you were covering up a crime? What? What kind of question is that? Yeah, so you had a body in your car. You took 2 trips to dump that body. Were you aware that dumping a body is a crime? Yeah, I think most normal people that have brains tend to understand you can't just drive bodies around and then dump them. Yeah, I think he did know it was a crime. Black said, Paul said we had to cover everything up. I didn't give it any thought at the time. I realize that now. So at the time, you had a dead body and you were just like, I can't think straight. I can't tell whether this is right or wrong. And I don't know if this is a crime or not, but I'm just going to do it because you said so. All right, buddy. Says here, cross-examining prosecutor John Keenan's KC said, you knew he was being lured with a fake gaydar profile to your house. Black said he didn't know. Mr. Keenan said, and then you murdered him. Black said, I didn't murder anybody. The prosecutor added, then you persisted in trying to cover it up. It was your crime as well. Black said, it wasn't my crime. Mr. Keenan said, do you remember saying, I apologize to the family or something like that? He said, not that I can remember. The prosecutor added, were you apologizing for your involvement in what happened to Mr. Caution? Black said, "I never had any involvement whatsoever." Black's defense later urged the jury to acquit him of murder. Mr. Lenihan said a murder conviction would be unsafe, but added, "A conviction on charge 7, defeating the ends of justice, is a serious one, as Black will learn in due course from his lordship." Is that the judge? He said Black was an uncomplaining puppy dog in a relationship where Mr. McNaughton was the boss. Mr. Lenihan said you would need to buy that bubbly Paul Black would be capable of executing a stranger, even though the person who had had enough of that person was Paul. Describing the events of August 11, 2022, he said, "Mr. Caution comes to the door. Who kills him? Is it Paul Black? Docile, bubbly, follower of whoever." Wait, they said, "Is it Paul Black, the docile, bubbly follower of wherever Mr. McNaughton leads him? 1.5 fully working arms, who has never met Mr. Caution, who is well into his 60s. Is it really Paul Black who is the killer here? Or is it the young, fit, healthy Paul McNaughton who is angry with Mr. Caution, who pleases himself? Who killed Mr. Caution? The only sensible answer is McNaughton." The jury in the trial is expected to be sent out to consider its verdict by a judge on Friday. That is a really messed up case. It really is. He changed pounds into euros. There we go. I still blame AI. I still blame it. I blame Yahoo, AI, euros, pounds. For some reason, Norway, possibly other countries. It's a really messed up story. Let's see if we can find a photo of Peter Caution, 75. Let's have a look. That's a older dude. An older dude? Let's have a look. He got cleared. He got cleared of murdering. Here, hold on. Paul Black, 65, was accused of killing former teacher Peter Caution with flatmate Peter McNaughton in August 2022. They're saying here, he was found guilty of attempting to defeat the ends of justice in helping McNaughton cover up the crime by leaving Dr. Caution's body by a roadside in Northumberland. So he got cleared of the murder charge. That's Mr. Paul Black, 65. But he got done on the lesser charge of defeat the ends of justice. I've never heard of that charge before. Defeat the ends of justice. What does that mean? Oh, it's like perverting the course of justice. Okay. Yeah, so it's just like where you hide a crime, basically, or prevent the police from discovering a crime has taken place, or you participate in a way that avoids you or someone else being discovered of committing a crime. Gotcha. I said everything perfectly? That's the first time ever. Kathy Lynch says, "I will never understand AI." You don't need to. It'll understand you. It's okay. Just wait for it. You ask it, it'll say, "Understand me." And you'll be like, "Oh, you're Kathy Lynch. You were born in whatever," and it'll know everything about you. It'll know all your medical. It'll know where you go during the day. It's a scary technology, I promise. I didn't because last time I messed it up and I didn't want to make you mad again. So I just said what I said. There you go. I do that sometimes to avoid people getting upset that I mispronounce their town name. Kathleen said, "That scares me." Well, that's the future. I'm not kidding. If you understand where the technology is going, it's going to be built into. You've already seen it, right? In the last 2 years, AI has been built into everything, from your bank, from travel, Twitter. Every website has like an AI assistant now, right? That integration is just going to get more and more severe as the technology matures. Right now, it's not a very mature technology. It's actually very in its infancy stages. It's sort of getting there, but it has a lot of issues. As that technology matures, it's going to be built into everything you can think of. Everything. It'll know how you like your toast. It'll know how long to put the dial on for. It'll time it for you. It'll probably make you a coffee eventually. Yeah. I think we're talking 10 to 15 years or more, but yeah, it'll be integrated into basically every bit of life. I saw a thing the other day where there's an AI thing in a town and you can ask it stuff. Like you can talk to it, and there's one in America at Wendy's. Wendy's drive-through in America has an AI bot. Instead of having someone who takes orders through the headset, they have an AI bot where you speak to it and it takes your order. Hold on, I'll show you. Do you want to see it? All right. I was able to track it down. Where is it? That's not it. They're saying here. Oh, it was Presto. They say, "Hello, I'm your automated drive-through assistant," and all you have to do is speak into it, and it takes your order. But there was another one that was, I swear to God, it was a Wendy's, and it had like a little screen that you could speak into. Let me see if I can find it. It might be on here somewhere. No, it's not. They did have a video showing how it worked on here, but yeah, you can go and order a burger with AI now at the drive-through. So it's even taking jobs. It's even taking 15-year-olds jobs at Wendy's and Popeyes. I don't think it can. I don't think it can teach men anything, unfortunately. Men are like old dogs. You cannot teach us much after 35. Laura says, "Oh yeah, the video where the guy fired AI and an actual player had to come to the drive-through. Is that what happened? I never saw that one. I want to see that. I want to see where someone fired the AI. That's hilarious. Hold on, let's have a look. I can't find the one you're talking about, but here's another one that you can speak into it and it tallies up your order. And I don't even know what company this one is. Sound Hound at 100 drive-through. This is White Castle, and you can speak into it, and it says helpful phrases that you can say to do your order. And yeah, wow, you can get 30 original sliders for $25. You know, I don't mean to be mean, but fast food in America is too cheap. You know, I went to Burger King last night. We're on the way home from doing something, and I was like, "It's freezing. I just want to get some hot chips or fries because it's freezing." And I was like, you know, they'll be nice and hot. It'll warm you up on the way home. Um, I think I got like 2 fries, some nuggets, and a burger or something. It was like $20. I'm not kidding. It was $20. And you can get 30 burgers in America for $25. It's too cheap. Really? Hey, sweet Melissa. How are you? Melissa says, my brother works at a Walmart warehouse. In 2 years, they are replacing all the employees with robots. Amazon already has them. I don't know if they're going to replace everyone, but their robots basically zip around and grab all the items and do all that. And then there's still people that have to pack the boxes. So hopefully, I hope your brother doesn't lose his job. Jojo said, when I was in kindergarten, an article stated I'd have a jetpack. That's a lie. Yeah, where's your jetpack, Jojo? Where's your jetpack? Do you feel robbed in life? You have to send me that. Send me that video, Laura. I want to see it. AI doesn't understand Scottish people. I'm surprised it understands Australians. The amount of lingo that Australians have is ridiculous. If you've ever heard an Australian speak to an Australian, you might think we're talking a foreign language. There's so many shortened words and words that have bizarre meanings down here that you guys don't use. And like we don't say afternoon, we'll just say like, oh yeah, a pretty good arvo out there. And I don't know if AI would even know what that is. They'd probably be like, how many avocados do you want? And we're like, no, we said afternoon, arvo, not avo. I promise you that'll happen. Reeve says, and facial recognition doesn't recognize black-skinned people. I think they've started to work on that, better doing it with facial mapping, but I don't know. Are you trying to say that AI and facial recognition is racist? Could be. Duracell has already replaced 60% of people by robots. I get it. It's really horrible that a lot of people are losing what I would consider. Some of the people at work there are highly skilled because they have to know how to use all the machines and do it safely and this and that. But I think it's like a lot of industries over time, they get taken over by whatever's cheaper. And it happens, unfortunately. It happened in, you remember when there used to be a lot of ladies who used to work in, like butchery? They used to work at the factories doing the chicken and the like deboning and things like that. Well, it's all done by lasers and robots now. It has been for like 15 years. So all those people that were skilled in deboning chicken and making fillets and cutting out the breasts and stuff, it's long gone. It's not even a job anymore, I don't think. No, but I've seen the video of the two Scottish people trying to install a burglar alarm and then try to order one. That is a funny video. Duracell has robots that just keep going and going. They have a bunny too. Remember when that swamp show came on where they caught alligators? They had to have subtitles for Louisiana people, did they? Oh, right. Yeah, because no one understand their slang and their drawl, like the way they speak. Although I can understand Louisiana people pretty good, probably because we share of people not always understanding us. So I share their pain. A lot of people are like, Ping, what did you say? What did you say? I'm like, I speak better English than you do. Like I speak UK English. It's almost the same as the British one. But people just don't get the accent sometimes. It's lucky I don't have a Bogan accent. Could you remember that? If I sounded like Crocodile Dundee and I did this video, you guys would have a real hard time. Yeah, I couldn't I could understand them. Good show. I like that show. All right, shall we pack up for the night? I think we should. Hey, tomorrow night's Saturday night, but there's no Cold Justice. We finished. It's done. Season 7 in the books. No more Cold Justice. I had a lot of fun doing that every Saturday for about 2 months. What are we going to do tomorrow? I don't know. But, actually, before we go, I want to see if there's any update because they're going to do a vigil tomorrow night for Asher. Let me see if there's an update. There is a little bit of an update. They're still saying that they don't expect Asher to recover from his injuries. Yeah, they're still saying here, Rutherford school director provides update on son injured in Tennessee storms. We don't expect Asher to recover. Yeah, so if you're in the area and would like to go to the vigil, I hope it wasn't tonight. I thought it was tomorrow. Let me just double check it's tomorrow. Yeah, it is. It's tomorrow, Saturday, May 18th. If you're in well, I don't even know what county. Rutherford County. If you're in Tennessee, Rutherford County, they're going to do a vigil for Asher, the little kid who got sucked into the stormwater drain. If you would like to go to that, look for his dad. His dad has stuff on Facebook, I think. Here, the community is invited to meet at the fountains at Gateway along Medical Center Parkway. Here, I'll put it up on the screen. If you're in the area, would like to go to the vigil for Asher, I'm going to end my show with that because I think it's a great idea. You can head there and show the family your support if you live in the area. I think that'd be a great idea. A really good way to spend a couple of hours of your weekend. So, yeah, we're going to go in a second. Hold on. All right. I just wanted to check something. By the way, I want to thank my friend. I'm pretty sure that's Catatonic. Catatonic, thank you very much for your monthly donation. She's part of the monthly membership program on Ko-Fi. I really appreciate it. Sean, for you too. I think that was your Ko-Fi monthly. I appreciate that, Sean. And tonight, Laura T. Thank you all for supporting the channel. I try and work hard and bring you as many shows as I can every single week. And yeah, I try to be here as often as I can. I think we do something like 20 hours a week of live streams or something like that per month. It's something like over 60 hours. So it's a lot. Hey, thank you guys. Thanks for all the nice wishes for Mrs. Ping. I got a lot of emails and comments from people saying, nice things about her. So I will pass them on to her for you. Hopefully she'll be better soon. So, hey, we'll be back tomorrow. I have no idea what time, hopefully 9 o'clock. But it is a weekend. The times can be a little up and down on Friday and Saturday night in the US, Saturday and Sunday Australian time. They can be a little wonky because I don't like to set an alarm on the weekend. I'm sorry. I like to sleep in a little bit. But hey, we'll be on and I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Hey, have a great night. I've got a new donation video coming tomorrow. I've been working on it. It has new music. So look for that tomorrow. It'll have all the names from this week on it. So if you feel like your name has been missing from the video, don't stress. I have it. It'll be on the new video for tomorrow night. So tune in for that. I'll see you tomorrow night, everyone. Peace out. Have a great Saturday. And if you're going to the Asher Vigil, pass along my thoughts and prayers to everyone there. All I can hope for is a miracle.